you ever waken up on a glorious Sunday morning and realize you had to make a critical decision? Have you been there? I have. It never fails. I wake up and I say to myself, Jeff, what are you going to do this morning? I realize it's another beautiful Sunday morning, and I know I have to go to work. Do I make my mother proud and go to church? Or do I follow that voice? The voice that keeps repeating the same thing over and over again. Jeffrey, the big one is waiting. Go fishing. Man, contest master, good evening, fellow Toastmaster guests. So one Sunday morning, I finally overcome that strong desire to go fishing and decided to go to church. I was running a little late. Took a side of the church and took a front row seat. Right away, I knew something was different. I looked to my left. No one was there. I looked to my right. No one was there. Not even a church mouse. Where are all the people? The priest, the choir. I knew it was Sunday morning. I checked my watch. It was almost time for service. I must be dreaming. Maybe this is some new reality show. Maybe, just maybe, everyone went fishing. So I waited and waited. Eventually, at the side of the church, near the altar, the door opened. And the priest, who's still wearing a suit, put his head around the door. Our eyes met. His face dropped. And he closed the door. And I waited. Eventually, he reappeared. He was a tall man. He was dressed in his robes. And he had his glasses at the end of his nose. I look around again. Nobody. We began the service. We began, and I knew I was in trouble. I was in trouble with the responses. Now, if the church is full of people, you don't have to care too much about the responses, right? You could just mumble and mumble along, and nobody knows. But if you're the only person there, if your voice is the only one being heard, you have to get it just right. And I didn't. And every time I mess up, he will let me know. What a nightmare. Our next reading is taken from Jeremiah chapter 12. Okay, Jeremiah, Matthew, Mark, Luke, Acts, David, Jeremiah. I'm sure you've heard people say, you know, when I went to church this morning, I really felt the priest was talking to me. Well, if you're the only person there, he is. Talk about eye contact. But I was cool. I was cool until he came to the part about miserable sinners. Now, if the church is full of people, no problem. Miserable sinner. But when it came to me, I looked around. There was nobody. Nobody. My final hurdle was a collection plate. Some people believe in you're trying to buy the way to heaven by making a large donation to the church. I think that's terrible. I prefer the installment method, where you buy in a little each week. But my embarrassment was acute when I realized he would know exactly how much I put in. So I put my usual amount in, and I doubled it. As I drove away, I began to reflect. Reflect on religion, on fishing, and on the church. And some people think fishing is not a sport. They consider it a religion. I had a special spiritual moment with the priest, one-on-one, and it changed my life. So all I can say to you, fellow Toastmasters and guests, if you ever find yourself facing the same dilemma as me on Sunday morning, Don't fret. Don't fuss. And don't worry. Whether you make your mom proud and go to church, or follow that little voice that's urging you to go fishing. Either way, you still get to pray.